Every so often in history, the ground moved, and every single time, the people living through it made the exact same mistake. They thought they had more time. Wow, think about that for a second. It's a pretty powerful, honestly, kind of urgent reminder that we are sitting right on the edge of a massive technological convergence. Between artificial intelligence, robotics, and biotech, things are moving faster than any transformation in human history. The economy you know is shifting right beneath your feet, and the window to adopt, it's shrinking. Welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're decoding the AI revolution, but we're doing it through a really unique lens. Former Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer. We're going to unpack his incredibly pragmatic, highly objective insights to build a blueprint for navigating this whole shift. We'll examine exactly what's happening at the macroeconomic level, the billions of dollars, the massive infrastructure, the looming government regulations, and then we'll distill all of that down into micro, actionable advice for your personal career. Okay, let's dive right in. Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The AI revolution is inevitable. 2. Threats to and from AI. 3. The AI regulation dilemma. 4. Economy and job dislocation. And 5. Thriving in the AI era. All right, kicking things off with Section 1. The AI revolution is inevitable. I want you to consider a simple number, 30. Steve Ballmer was employee number 30 at a little startup you might have heard of called Microsoft. That means he literally lived through the absolute explosion of the personal computer and internet revolution right from the inside at the highest levels of leadership. So when he looks at the AI landscape today, he isn't just guessing, he's comparing it to a massive paradigm shift that he has already navigated successfully. His perspective isn't just academic theory, it's grounded in decades of building the very infrastructure that makes today's AI possible. And when we compare that PC and internet boom to today's AI and capital boom, well, there's a really distinct pattern. Right now, capital is absolutely flooding into AI, just like it did back in the late 90s with the internet rush. Now, Ballmer points out that, inevitably some companies are going to wipe out. Businesses that get the capital or the product wrong are going to fail. But, and this is a big but, that doesn't mean AI is just a bubble. The underlying adoption of this tech is incredibly real, and we're only in the earliest innings of a transition that could honestly prove even more profound than the cell phone or the internet. Moving on to Section 2, Threats to and from AI. It's really a dual-edged sword. We can kind of break this down into two distinct categories. First, the threats to AI's development. Right now, there's a growing populist pushback, and we're seeing this from multiple ends of the political spectrum, against the massive capital and energy required to run AI. There's very real resistance to building the necessary data centers and power grids. But then you flip it, and you have the threats from AI. Ballmer notes that while nation-states like the US or China have a whole lot to lose from AI chaos, the real danger actually comes from bad non-state actors who just don't have those same constraints. They could misuse this technology for severe cybersecurity attacks or widespread societal harm, basically treating open-source models like weapons. Let's circle back to that resistance to data centers for a second, because Ballmer beautifully reframes this. He shared this great story about his father, who worked at the Ford Motor Company. Back in the 1980s, his dad visited Microsoft and, honestly, he just couldn't understand what anyone was doing there because there was no physical factory turning out a product. But today, Ballmer says if you go to these big data centers today, you are going to the factories of today. Think about it. We would never turn down a new factory that builds cars, yet people hesitate to build data centers. But these centers are the essential manufacturing hubs of our time. Without them, the innovation just stalls out. Which brings us to Section 3, the AI regulation dilemma. How do we govern something moving this fast? Okay, the absolutely crucial point to grasp here is a concept called regulatory capture. Right now, there's this really complex dynamic playing out. You've got some tech leaders using what we call doomer rhetoric, warning that AI could destroy humanity, and they're openly asking the government to regulate them. But we have to look at this objectively. By asking to be regulated, these dominant tech companies might actually be setting themselves up to write the rules. Why? Because they know the government simply lacks the deep technical expertise to regulate AI on its own. So if the tech giants help write the rules, they can intentionally craft regulations that are so burdensome, they literally block out any new, smaller competitors from even entering the market. So if lawmakers don't fully understand the tech, how on earth do we actually regulate it fairly? Well, Ballmer proposes a really pragmatic three-step framework. Step 1. The technologists themselves must propose the initial regulations, simply because they're the only ones who truly understand how these systems work under the hood. Step 2. Economists then review those proposals. They need to ensure the rules won't destroy the market or invite that regulatory capture we were just talking about. And finally, step 3. Less technical government regulators step in to apply the democratic ethics and values of the general public. It has to be a layered approach to work. Let's move into section 4, economy and job dislocation. All right, we have to address the elephant in the room here. Job dislocation is inevitable. Just like the automobile completely replaced the buggy whip maker, AI is absolutely going to eliminate certain roles. Ballmer is super candid about this. He says society is going to have to step up and provide a real safety net for people, especially older workers, say in their late 40s or 50s, whose jobs simply vanish through no fault of their own. Because let's be real, retraining completely at that stage of life is incredibly difficult. It's just a harsh economic reality of this kind of innovation. But hang on, there is also immense optimism when we look at the future of work. First off, highly physical jobs aren't going anywhere anytime soon. A physical therapist or, hey, an NBA basketball player, they literally cannot be replaced by software. Second, entirely new businesses and industries, stuff we haven't even invented or thought of yet, are going to emerge exactly like they did with the internet. And finally, Ballmer posits this totally fascinating scenario. What if AI makes society so broadly wealthy and productive that we actually transition to a 20-hour work week, yet everyone still makes the exact same amount of money? The total amount of societal wealth is going to increase. The real challenge is just making sure all that wealth doesn't calcify at the very top. Of course, all of this economic shifting is happening against a much larger backdrop, specifically the national deficit. Ballmer points out a major psychological disconnect in our economy right now. The national deficit is this massive, looming structural problem, right? Yet it has almost zero immediate impact on a regular citizen's daily routine. Like, your interest rate on your mortgage might be high, but you don't really feel the national debt when you're just out buying groceries. And because of this disconnect, voters and politicians kind of just ignore the problem. They demand lower taxes, higher benefits, right up until we hit an absolute brick wall that will force some brutal real-world trade-offs. Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Thriving in the AI Era. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what not to do. Just look at Ballmer's candid admission of his biggest professional failure, completely missing the smartphone market at Microsoft. Why did they miss it? Because they relied on legacy business models and mentalities. They basically tried to take the approach that worked so well for the PC and just slap it onto the phone, instead of building new muscle and entirely new financial models. The lesson here is absolutely critical for us today. You cannot approach the AI revolution with a legacy mindset. If you cling to how things used to be done, you are, for sure, going to be left behind. So how do we actually adapt? The source gives us some brilliant real-world examples at every single level of the workforce. For blue-collar workers, Ballmer talks about a home maintenance professional who pulls up an AI bot on his phone to instantly learn how to fix a pipe he's never even seen before, instantly making him vastly more capable. For white-collar workers, get this. The goal isn't to use AI to finish your 40-hour job in 20 hours and just go home. The goal is to offload the repetitive tasks to the bot so you can do more meaningful work and add completely new value. And for executives, it's all about using AI agents to scale operations. Imagine a nonprofit using AI to serve millions of people instead of just thousands, all without needing to hire a massive expensive staff. It's a total game changer. So if we sequence all of this into a bit of a tough love checklist, especially for young people, it looks a little something like this. Step 1, work hard to actively find your passion. It doesn't just fall from the sky, you have to hunt for it. Step 2, put in the intense hours. You literally need to be thinking about your work challenges while you're shaving or brushing your teeth in the morning. Step 3, and this is vital right now, embrace AI tools early. Whatever you do, please do not be the last person to adopt AI. Be the first. And step 4, stay humble and always acknowledge that luck plays a huge role in success. Which leaves us with one final question for you. Knowing everything we've just covered, the inevitability of this tech, the massive macroeconomic shifts, and the urgent need to abandon our legacy thinking, will you let AI replace your role, or will you use it to do things you never could before? The ground is moving, and as we said at the start, you don't have more time. The choice of how you adapt is entirely up to you. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.